Over the last couple of weeks, Google have threatened to end access to search for Australians. Potentially. But exactly what does that look like, and is it likely to happen? We have Sarah Moran from Geek Academy and Jonno Seidler from Unyoked here. Okay, just walk me through exactly what's being threatened here, Jonno.
We're trying to charge them for news, which is, I feel like they really don't like to do it. Since we had this conversation a couple of days ago, I've been getting a lot of ads from the managing director who's going on the offensive at the moment. But essentially, Australia consumer law is trying to challenge Google and Facebook's hegemony over the news platforms and our ability to make money out of news. It's becoming a big argy-bargy, my new favourite term, for what's going on. And Google is threatening to basically pull the plug, not only on search, but basically all of their operations in Australia, which could be a very interesting development.
All right, Sarah, are they actually going to do this? Or is this just one of those threats?
It's a pretty heavy threat, you know. We probably haven't thought through the consequences of what that looks like. I don't think it will happen, but I think it's a conversation that's, you know, definitely progressing. What does search mean to us, and what does it mean to find the news, right? Because I think at the center of this argument is that Google is sort of saying, look, you know, we're not providing the news, but we're providing access to it, and news organizations should want that, and that Google shouldn't have to pay for that privilege.
It's interesting the thing that you bring up about search, Sarah, because search, like, we think of it as like a separate function of Google, and that is what they're talking about. They're talking about, you know, potentially pulling search out, but search underpins so many other Google services like Maps and other aspects. Is there a sense, Jonathan, of whether or not they're going to limit access to the search functionality in their other services, or is it just that, you know, that window that we're familiar with, the search window?
I don't think you can remove it. I think it's fundamental to the DNA, personally. And there's no way that you can get accurate searches on which cafe you want to go to or where that cafe is without using that search functionality. It was all built out from that. You know, while people are questioning how realistic that threat is, it is quite a realistic threat in terms of, you know, there are entire small businesses that rely on Google's algorithm to be able to be noticed and to be found. And, you know, what happens to AdWords? There's a whole bunch of stuff that comes off that I think we need to think about more seriously.
I just think there's something really implausible about it. It just doesn't seem like a thing that is ever really going to be on the cards, if not purely because I don't even know how to use DuckDuckGo.
You and 0.93% of Australians who use it.
Don't make me use Bing. Come on. I don't want to use Bing. No one wants to use Bing.
Join the 3%, Mark. Join the 3%.
All of this is caught up with their news product as well, which they've sort of threatened to hold off releasing in Australia. But weirdly, like in the last 2 days, Jonathan, they have said when they're going to roll out their new product.
Yeah, they have. And I'm just a bit dubious about that, really. It seems like convenient timing for them to just be like, oh, this thing that we've been talking about for age. Same with Facebook. They've also had this kind of on the back burner, and they've been courting and not courting media companies kind of for years. This is not a new conversation. It's just kind of come to a head. So I don't know if it's just like a slapdash answer where they're just trying to throw everything at the wall and hope that something sticks and they don't really have to pull out the big guns. Current figures say that they own 97% of search. As we were saying, Bing, you know, snapping at their heels with 3%. I don't know where Ask Jeeves is, but I want to bring the butler back.
In my heart,
personally.
Forever. That's where Ask Jeeves lives.
Forever. But, you know, interestingly, the conversation is now shifting to what does happen if there is a vacuum and Google does exit. Is there room for more players? And if there's more players, there becomes competition, and it kind of becomes more like the traditional media buying landscape that we're used to, which could actually be healthier in a way, presuming that we have 3 search engines or 3 providers able to do that. But that's kind of what the ACCC is saying now, which is like there could be a silver lining to this.
It sounds good in principle, but I mean, if you're asking competitors to jump from 3% of the market to something that is sustainable as a business, that's not going to happen overnight, is it, Sarah?
Well, look, I've thought about this a lot, and I think the way to motivate Australians to do that, I've thought about the marketing campaign. I would just have like Batuta search, you know, something that's just like so Aussie that you're like, yeah, I want my Aussie search engine, you know? And I think that's the only way that we would adopt something that would really take up that space is if it was a bit of a, you know, sticking the middle finger to big tech in America, like that we could do it independently and we can do it ourselves. That being said, do we have the tech chops in Australia? We do. We have great talent, but they're kind of working on other things. And so what makes Google have this lucrative business is that they've got global scale and, you know, global revenues. To actually run that as a business in Australia, I think, like, while we could create the tech product, would you be able to create a viable tech business off the back of Australian-only search? I don't know, man. I mean, maybe. I'd love to have a crack.
Just
But,
like
like-
Smith will do it.
No.
You know what I mean? And I think the other thing is that to be able to do that, it would probably have to involve some heavy investment from the government. And up until now, they've not been particularly interested in investing in tech, like, either in their own platforms or, supporting private investment to make Aussie-made tech. And I just, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Dick Smith could do it. He seems to be very keen on this kind of thing. I feel like a Dick Smith times Atlassian kind of takeover would be great. But beyond that, I tend to agree. I don't think we have the capability to actually pull it off. So yeah, it may not actually happen. But it's an interesting conversation nonetheless.
All right, there's lots more of this in the podcast. If download this show, it is your guide to the week in media, technology, and culture, and you can get it wherever you get your podcasts. See ya.